Welcome, everyone, to the Last Video Store Clerks podcast with Frank and Scott.
The days of Blockbuster, Hollywood, and the independent video store are over.
But the days of searching the shelves for hidden gems and overlooked cult classics is never ending.
Join us while we drown in a sea of streaming options and ask the question,
what the hell is a good movie anyway?
I'm Frank.
I'm Scott.
And we're the Last Video Store Clerks.
Afterwards, I'm still choking from the water.
You know, he was in Death Proof with Jason Statham.
Who?
Ian McShane.
Oh, Ian McShane. Did you looked up Ian McShane?
Yeah, he was also in John Wick. He's in a lot of shit.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. He's Odin in American Gods.
American Gods?
Yeah, you never watched American Gods? It was on Stars. It was
No.
based on
I
Neil
never
Gaiman
had Stars.
thing. Yeah. Fucking too many streaming platforms.
Yeah. God, it's... At least you got Showtime for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that's what it led to.
Yeah.
And I got to watch Yellow Jackets, which was the best fucking show I have ever seen. I think.
So good.
I've never been so excited to get back to watching something in years and years. Like
you didn't have to wait for each week. We had to wait.
Yeah, fuck that
for
shit.
new episodes.
I don't like doing it that way. I don't think that we should do it that way anymore. At least give me two.
Mm-hmm.
Or like make 2-hour episodes. I don't fucking care. It's a weird debate that we'll have all the time where we'll be like, I don't really feel like committing to a movie. So I'm going to watch 6 hours of TV. Well, you could have watched 3 movies.
Yeah. But in your head, it's a good compromise.
Yeah, I don't understand why the choice has to be that complicated. Making the choice to like watch a TV show and get stuck in it for 6 straight hours should be the heavier choice than picking a movie.
Yeah. It's the commitment to the movie somehow stronger in your mind where you're willing to give up a longer amount of time.
Yeah, I miss the time in my life when I had enough time to just be like, I'm going to watch everything, all of it.
Oh, yeah, no, with the kid, that
movie
disappeared.
For breakfast.
Well, yeah, once we had, our little one, it was, there goes that extra TV time. No more killing seasons in 2-3 days.
Oh, we fucking do it. I took Yellow Jackets down in 2 fucking days. Like, and that was just because like we wanted to leave 5 for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like 5 today, 5 tomorrow, which is a lot of TV, but it was easy.
See, we put so much time into it and having to wait week to week. I think we actually saved the last one for 2 weeks before we watched it. We wanted some sort of finale feeling.
That's what I did with Severance. But also the same thing, like the last episode, I said that was the best fucking TV show I'd
you
ever
keep
seen.
talking about it. There's these other original...
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
But nobody but you told me about Yellow Jackets. Other people had talked about it as though they meant to watch it. I saw articles about it because the cast is fucking amazing.
I talked about it as much as I could, but I only know one other person, before you who actually watched Yellow Jackets. I was the only one. So at Olympia, that's all that we had.
Good. Christina Ricci's so good.
Christina Ricci was amazing. That she pulls
and
that off.
They paired the castings with the younger versions of themselves. So fucking good. And don't worry, I'm not gonna talk about the plot of Yellow Jackets. You should just watch it because it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, if you were around, know anything about the 90s, it's nostalgic.
I mean,
a lot of nostalgia, the music,
it's a weird
everything.
Fucking thing. Like I was like, oh my God, is that Republica? And my wife was like, I don't know what that is. She was like, that song sounds familiar. And I like looked it up and I was like, Republica had one fucking song. When we were in like teenagers, they had all those like MTV fashion shows. And when they were just experimenting with bullshit back then, we've officially given up on showing you music videos.
If it was on some half-assed video game at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How bands would do that in the 90s, early 2000s. And even now, yeah, you just hear these random bands and video games. You're like, what?
Oh my God, Rob Zombie must be loaded for all the video game licensing he did. Twisted Metal games and shit.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm sorry for anyone who's frustrated with the rattling of my voice. We're at full Austin allergy bullshit.
Every car is yellow.
We're going to come through this and you're going to be like, did you guys get a new host for this podcast? This person sounds completely different.
I did the yard this last weekend. My wife was like, what's wrong with your eyes? They were just so bloodshot and red. It was bad.
Oh, God, it's terrible. I don't even leave the house that much. Yeah, but Yellow Jackets, it was fucking amazing. The entire fucking cast is women. There's like 3 dudes in the whole show. 3 or 4 maybe, like main characters.
I love the way they bounce back and forth. As you mentioned, the way the characters match very well.
Yeah,
old to young.
It felt like Lost, like in its heyday, before everyone was disenchanted with Lost. That
Lost.
First season where everybody was like, what the fuck?
What's in the hatch?
And the balls of like Severance and Yellow Jackets cliffhanger season finales. If you don't give me a hardcore cliffhanger season finale, do you even deserve another season?
Do you want me to come back?
Yeah.
Do you even care?
Well, there's too many shows now that I'm like, oh, that's over. Oh, there's more. Okay. I guess I'll watch it. I said it last time, but the fucking Russian Doll, man.
See,
You haven't seen it,
have
you?
I did not catch Russian Doll.
I'm for Groundhog Day as a genre. We can make things that are Groundhog Day. Figure out your way out of this endless loop.
But no Needle Nose Ned?
No. Unfortunately not. He's in Californication, though, and he's really good.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in like the last, he was probably in it more than not, like overall episodes. But he plays like Stu, is like a producer with a giant penis.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm proud of him.
Yeah,
he's made it a long
he's
way.
like, I may look like a nerd, but I have a giant penis.
Oh, man. A real Dirk Diggler complex,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Oh, nice.
I get it. That made it sound like I was bragging about my penis. That's not what I meant. I meant that if I had a horse cock, I'd probably want to shout to everyone.
Yeah. Put that bitch on center stage.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that guy who got a horse cock in high school and couldn't stop showing everyone.
Everybody.
Look.
Everybody. Everybody knows that one guy.
Good luck finding somebody to let you stick that thing in. What if they're all that big? And more things I have to chop out of this. Everything was fine, and then Scott started talking about
I think
teenage
sometimes you talk to me
penises.
like you're I feel like sometimes low key you're talking to me, you're worried about what I'm gonna say, but then you're over here talking about horse cocks.
If I talk to you about it, it's just I need someone to project the things that I'm trying to tell myself, like, hey, don't say that kind of stuff. The pandemic has made me very bad at censoring the shit that I think is funny because I shouldn't say it at all.
Or just the level of hatred that I've developed for people as a whole, being able to work from home for so long, then having to get back into society and seeing what's happened over this period of time.
Yeah, I feel a little sketched out driving every time. I don't know if any of these people feel this way, but it's probably all of them.
On the way to your house, a semi-truck with the trailer stopped too far past the line at a red light. I'm going over into the turn lane because no one's there to go around him. He's backing up, it turns out. The reverse lights on the trailer are so dirty, I didn't see it. I look at the guy because you're in a big-ass truck. It's like he didn't even check. That's a guy in a semi-truck.
Just being home all the time. Everybody has to be driving around like they're new. And fuck, I bet like all of those like truck drivers are all fucking...
If they didn't have a dash cam before, they have a dash cam now.
Well, or they're brand new. I'm sure they lost tons of workforce.
And it's one of those industries where people don't make what they should. They don't make what they used to.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with getting all that fresh blood in there. It's these people just looking for something. It's not necessarily there's something they're wanting to do or they were good at it. And that's scary. Jesus. Yeah. No, watch some of those shows. I got stuck on a show once. The big part of it was these guys who had no idea what the hell they were doing. Like, yeah, man, you might want to put some snow chains on when the entire highway's iced over.
Yeah, we say that we're in Texas and nobody does any. Like when fucking snows like 3 inches, everyone's like, don't leave your house.
They don't know how to act.
I was managing a restaurant downtown and then it like froze overnight, rained a little bit. I drove to work and I was like, wow, it's dead out here today. Like drove to work just fine, got to work, set up the restaurant, got mad at all my employees for not being there, and then called the fucking office and they were like, we closed every store today. Why did you go to work? And I was like, for what?
If Central Texas gets any form of ice, everything shuts down.
It was really weird. I wish they had told me before I drove down there because apparently like all the way to work was a slight downgrade, you know, like from like airport in Lamar down to downtown.
You just didn't notice or?
No, I was like fine getting there the whole way. And then they were like, no, go home. What the fuck are you doing? And so I had to drive uphill on the ice all the way back. And I was like, oh, this is why people don't go to work. But they don't have any means of dealing with it.
The road crews are not prepared here. There's never salt. There's never gravel. They don't know what to do either. It seems even if we have an adverse weather event, they still don't prepare better for the next time. They don't help. You hear that?
I do think that a little hardship, it's not as hard as we make it out to be sometimes.
No.
And so I don't know why everyone is reacting so
I just
poorly.
know that everything's going to shut down, so I assume it's going to be a free day.
We should all have to be in a plane crash and then eat one of our friends because I think it would make it makes your life more interesting.
If they're preserved in the ice and snow, why not?
But yeah, watch Yellow Jackets. It's amazing. It's alive with teenage girls and Lost and The Witch and
lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, there was a lot of shit going on in that show.
Not to give away anything.
Speaking of Alive, the director of Congo directed Alive, and Congo is the movie we're watching today.
Congo,
which
Amy Love.
The reasons I thought it was bad when I was younger are not the reasons I thought it was bad now. Yet at the same time, very enjoyable to watch. But Congo felt like the entire thing was shot on a soundstage. There was that time in the 90s where there was lots of soundstage jungle going on.
Yeah, because it seemed almost every movie was in the jungle or somewhere like that.
Yeah, like perfectly glossy leaves and that soundstage jungle light. You know what I mean?
Interesting story though. I thought the same thing. And I remember back in the day when it was on HBO, they used to do behind the scenes. And the special effects were a big deal because they were decent for the time.
Yeah.
And while thinking it was a stage, I wondered, well, where did they shoot this? And they actually shot it over 15 different locations.
Yeah, some of it was for sure a soundstage.
Most definitely.
So like you're inside.
But they went as far to Costa Rica, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda.
I wonder if those weren't just exterior shots.
Possibly.
I think a lot of them were. There were some people were outside for parts of this movie. They were definitely at an airport.
Well, the mountains in the background?
Yeah, for sure.
Some of those were definitely on site.
Some of those were blue screen as fuck, though.
Some of them were.
Give us a summary of the movie.
So summary of the movie. So this is Congo. This is 1995.
Yeah, if you don't remember the movie coming out, you remember the fucking Pepsi ads with the fucking gorilla drinking Pepsi. Like, she wants a Pepsi. This gorilla wants a fucking martini, apparently.
Yeah, yeah. No, and it's based on a book by Michael Crichton.
Height of Michael Crichton time.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Buy up every Michael Crichton property and make fucking timeline.
One day we have to talk about Jurassic Park just so I can talk about Jurassic Park.
I know you.
I've got so much to say about it.
I know you do.
I know it's like a big movie and it's great, but God, I love it. Anyway.
Yeah. I feel like every episode is going to be us trying to get through the summary without thinking of something else in the middle of the fucking movie.
Oh yeah, remember?
Yeah. We were summarizing the movie.
So, it starts off a telecommunication company search for diamonds. Things get crazy. It starts with a satellite call. You see violence. Something happens. The crew is lost. An employee of the communications company, she goes out on a search and rescue mission. Well, at the same time, we're introduced to a talking gorilla named Amy. Her primatologist handler's at a university. He has taught this gorilla to talk using a machine while she's doing sign language. So you've got a talking gorilla, you've got a communications company trying to make it into the jungle. Well, they're trying to get the gorilla back home as well.
Yeah, there are a lot of plot lines going on at once in this movie.
There are. The ex-CIA agent communications company employee just happens to be the ex of one of the people who's gone missing on the expedition. At the same time, a mysterious, Romanian philanthropist?
Played by Tim Curry.
Comes into the picture because, they have to find a way to fund Amy's trip back to the Congo.
Yeah, and Tim Curry's accent is fucking horrendous. I think Tim Curry is tremendous. He is a fantastic fucking actor.
Well, in the movie,
he's one of the best bad guys of my childhood.
In the movie, his name is Hurkamahalmoka.
Man, yeah, I'm glad you remember these fucking character names.
Yeah. It is ridiculous, and even for Tim Curry. I mean, but you've got two different groups trying to make their way to the Congo. Oh, what do you know? They find their way together. The telecommunications company employee has to pay for the gas, so that's where they get together. They go to the Congo.
Yeah, he didn't mention that for some reason Bruce Campbell in the beginning of it, he's looking for the diamond, and that's how the catalyst for the movie. And Bruce Campbell isn't in this movie. That was one of the main things I remembered about the movie was Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell was in it for what, 5 minutes?
Yeah,
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Maybe it's the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, He's just there to do the Bruce Campbell scream.
Yeah.
Because then he dies, but we don't know whether he's dead or not.
Well, and we met, he auditioned for the part of the primatologist. He didn't get it, so he got that small part in the movie instead.
At the very end in the credits, there was a featured actors. It came before the cast, and he was the first one. Mr. Echo from Lost was the second one. And then the other one was a guy I didn't even notice was in the movie. They were like separated from the cast. And then there was a list of 50 people in the movie. And I was like, what the fuck? Do you remember them doing that to movies?
No.
Like highlighting like just this thing.
Well, there's always the "and with." You know what I mean? It's like the cast
in the
and
end
then "and
credits, though. It's like they weren't even listed in order of appearance or anything like that. It was literally like
you're talking about end credits. I thought you were talking about opening credits.
End credits.
Oh,
he was like a featured cast member.
And
so
who was he in the movie?
Bruce Campbell.
Oh, that.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Mr. Echo? Mr.
Yeah,
Echo from Lost, who I can't pronounce his name. I'm not even going to attempt to do it. He played, if you wanted an African guy around that time, you got all the people in this movie. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, the guy who played his character name in the movie was, what was it? Kahega.
Kahega, yeah.
He was in Oz.
Exception to what I said, Ernie Hudson was not. Was he South African? Do you feel like he's South African?
South African, yeah, because if you notice when he first pulls up at the airport, it's got the what's that flag? The UK flag.
I remember when I was younger, I thought he was just doing a really fuck awful British accent.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've like heard a South African accent to
it would make more sense if he was South.
Like I was like, oh, okay.
Like it was a cause of the British Empire,
maybe,
kind of a thing.
Yeah, because I don't remember Tim Curry having a bad accent in this. I did remember Ernie Hudson having a bad accent.
Well, I just love the way you meet. They're like, I'm from South Africa. South Africa.
South Africa. Yeah.
They have this way of I'm from South Africa.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
I like the accent.
Okay, one more thing before we get too far off.
I mean, I feel like that's the tone of this conversation, how it's already started, is kind of how this movie is.
Yeah.
Like fucking so many
Until
plot
you
lines.
talked about it, I didn't realize how there were so many plot lines and how they're actually talking about what they're doing while they're doing it. It's out loud.
Oh my God. Yeah. I told Frank this earlier because he was like, yeah, the dialogue, I would be able to tell what was happening in the movie from the other room. That's because everything they say in the whole movie is what they're doing currently. Like they're like, we're going to go down here. And you're like, yeah, I can see that. You're on camera going down the hill. Like, that's great. And like the gorillas are coming at us. That was what the last 5 shots of the movie were.
Well, so these 2 expeditions come together. They end up at the airport, and I think it's supposed to be Tanzania.
More like an exposition, you know what I mean?
Well, that's where we come into Ernie Hudson, the guide with experience.
Ernie Hudson was really great too. I feel like I misremembered him poorly.
His
in this
name
movie.
is Captain Monroe Kelly.
Came in a little strong in that first scene with that accent. He pulled it back a little bit, and then you started to really like that character.
It's great.
Yeah.
He's consistent. He's consistent.
Yeah. So the gist of it is, this guy who's training gorillas wants to take his gorilla he's taught sign language back to the jungle.
Meanwhile, Laura Linney is trying to search for the expedition that got lost, searching for diamonds for the telecommunications company.
Bruce Campbell's father, who is not concerned with his death, he's concerned with diamonds, to fire a laser that is something for communications, as you said.
But that actor's name, by the way, is Joe Don Baker.
He
looks like a Joe
Baker
Don.
plays the same fucking dude in
every movie.
And he's fucking great at it.
It's like when Senator Fred Thompson was in movies.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy that like play like a Texas senator, and he would just be eating barbecue and it was on his face, but he still thought he was.
You know who else is like that? Robert Loggia.
Yes.
It's another one of those. They always play the same person.
What else was he in?
Robert Loggia?
Yeah.
He was in Necessary Roughness, the football movie. He was in Independence Day.
Independence Day, that's what I'm thinking of him in.
And by the way, Independence Day Resurgence? Is that what the
I never saw it.
It's basically a duplicate.
Oh, it's like a cover song?
It's the same.
Sometimes his movies are cover songs.
Not to mention RoboCop again, but it's the same thing. RoboCop from RoboCop 2, it's almost the same thing. It's just a little different.
That's weird to do in a sequel if it hasn't been. I guess Independence Day came out when we were middle schoolers or something.
Yeah, it was 96, I believe, because the 20-year anniversary was when the second one came out.
Which is when Yellow Jackets takes place.
1996.
Yeah, it was a good year for like remembering pop culture.
I guess so.
Like, I feel like that was like the creamy center of the ding dong that was the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, let's make a note. Maybe go back and see what movies were hot in 96.
Yeah, I bet they had Republic in them. Definitely The Prodigy.
Definitely. Maybe some Bush. Or no, a little early for Bush or right there?
Maybe that
maybe
was
a hair early.
That was like razor blade suitcase Bush era. Because they were really pumping that shit on TRL. This was when TRL started, 1996.
No way.
Yeah, that was when hell was unleashed on Earth, and we only got to see 8 seconds of a music video for the rest of our lives.
Changed music forever.
Yeah, and then they had to make a new channel.
Outside of the reality program, that could have been the downfall of the music video.
I always thought it was weird that they made MTV2 for the music videos. Like they were like, well, we're just going to put
this.
We're going to put them over here. And then over time, MTV2 also turned into MTV.
It became the channel for 24/7 ridiculousness is what happened. If it wasn't for MTV, we wouldn't have Dead Man on Campus.
Oh my God, Dead Man on Campus is the shit.
My name is Cliff, brother of Joe.
No, it's really, the story is not good.
Shout out to Jason Mata.
Yeah.
The papers, Josh. The papers.
Oh my God. We watched that not too long ago.
Did you?
Yeah, it was great.
I haven't seen it in years. What's his name? Mark Paul Glacier?
Zach Morris.
Zach Morris. Oh my God. I can't believe it. Zach Morris was slipping my mind. How could
Did you ever watch that Funny or Die had the Zach Morris's trash episodes?
No.
Oh my God, it's amazing. He goes through every episode of Saved by the Bell and explains to you why everything Zach Morris does is fucking evil and fucked up. Like, it's like he tries to get like a girl in a wheelchair asked to prom in one of the episodes, doesn't learn his lesson ever.
So somewhere out there was a fan theory, and they were right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
He does it so tastefully.
No,
too.
I've never seen that, but as soon as you said it,
watch it. They condense like an episode down to 5 minutes. He like explains the entire episode to you and why the entire catalyst for it and everything is Zach being a fucking sociopath that talks to the camera. Like, you want to do trivia. Who's the villain of Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Answer me that question. It's not Principal Mooney. Leave it at that.
My lips are sealed.
I make people really mad when we talk about Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Hint.
Yeah, you're smart. You guys are smart. Figure it out. You got it. You got it. You know who it is. Who's the villain?
I haven't seen that in a minute either. It's been a while.
But
I don't remember her name. Was she the wife in Time Cop?
Oh.
I think she might have been the wife in Tom Clop.
In Tom Clop?
In Tom Clop.
Tom Clock,
the 90s action movie with JCVD. Tom Clock.
I like
Time Cop.
Time Cop is a comic book movie from the 80s.
Is it?
There's a lot of fucking comic books.
I have almost zero comic book knowledge. Just want to throw that out there. Yeah. So Scott's going to guide me on this.
Yeah, we're not going to. I don't want to do like a whole talk about. You haven't seen The Batman yet?
No.
And I talk shit about long movies a lot. And I'm not an editor. I don't know what needs to be cut out of it. I do know that I watched a 3-hour Batman movie and I didn't give a shit how long it was. I didn't want it to end. And that is a really good superhero movie to me.
I'm looking for that really good block of time where I could try and watch it in one sitting.
Yeah, it wasn't like
I
remember I didn't go see Blade Runner, the Blade Runner sequel, the 2049 or whatever. Was it 2149? No, because 2019. What?
I think it was 2049.
Yeah,
Ryan
right.
Gosling.
Yeah, because the first one takes place in 2019, right? So it has to be long enough for Harrison Ford to become hunched and sad.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want him to be in another Indiana Jones movie. I don't like seeing Indiana Jones all hunched over. Fucking bothers me.
You know, I saw a little factoid or a little trivia the other day. Mel Brooks asked permission from George Lucas to do Spaceballs. George Lucas's one request was don't let the guy look like Han Solo, who's going to be the Han Solo.
Oh.
So Mel Brooks made him look loosely like Indiana Jones with the jacket.
That's really funny. Holy fuck.
I read that and it blew my mind because I'm like, it's not like it, but it is. You know, he's got like some khakis. And
oh my God.
Yeah, so that was Mel Brooks's like, okay, he won't look like Han Solo. George Lucas, here you go.
Holy fuck, man. That's wild.
Yep.
I love
that was
Mel Brooks.
I saw that
and Mel Brooks' son, Max Brooks. Max Brooks wrote World War Z and the Zombie Survival Guide. He's hilarious and really, really smart. He's been on what's Bill Maher's show called? Real Time?
Yeah, Real Time.
Yeah. Bill Maher bothers me a little bit. What bothers me more is I agree with him all the time.
No, but he becomes almost unbearable to me as time passes.
I have to pee again.
Oh, and when you get back, we'll talk about the movie. Oh, yeah, the movie. Oh, shit. Yeah, let's see. The part of the 727 pilot was played by musician and pop icon Jimmy Buffett.
Just reading Jurassic Park trivia into the phone.
Congo trivia. It's Congo trivia.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear that last one?
Yeah.
No. I wasn't reading them well, but did you know
wait till the toilet stops running?
the 727 pilot was played by Jimmy Buffett?
Oh yeah,
Blew out my flip flop.
Kelly thought that was Sam Neill, which was a really weird thing. She was like, "Was Sam Neill the pilot?" And I was
No
like, "No,
way.
this is after Jurassic Park, right?
Yes.
Like right after."
So I believe Jurassic Park is 92 or 93.
Oh my God. Jurassic Park looks so much better than Congo.
Yeah. Well, think about that was Steven Spielberg. Spielberg was not a part of Congo.
Yeah.
If you go into the early 90s with Spielberg money, you're going to get Jurassic Park. If you go into the mid 90s without Steven Spielberg money, you get Congo.
When
money.
I looked at, what's the director's name?
Frank Marshall.
Frank Marshall. I don't know how I keep forgetting that. It's two. Your name is Frank, and that is just like that is a serious name.
It's like just
Frank
right
Marshall.
in there. Frank Marshall.
Yeah. Okay. So looking at his career, he directed Alive, which scarred the shit out of me when I was a little kid, and then he directed some other things, mostly documentaries. That looked like the beginning of his career was directing the behind the scenes stuff for movies.
Mm-hmm.
So like the additional content, but that didn't make any sense to me either because it's before we did that.
Well, his executive producer.
Oh, his list of like, if you've watched a movie, Frank Marshall had
there
some
was so
money
many
in that
things
movie.
that he touched.
Yeah.
You know, his credits for executive producer were insane. Here, wait, I've got some of them right here. Signs, Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
He's got to
Indian in the Cupboard.
Yeah, he's got to be one of those guys that's with a team of people making a movie at one time. And then he was like, I want to do that. But what he's good at is pushing the money around, making sure everything stays on budget. And
to be in the array of movies that he was involved with, because they're all over the place. One of the other ones on the list is Milk Money.
Yeah, he has to be incredible.
Do you remember Milk Money?
Yeah, he has to be. He has to be. Yes, I remember Milk Money. Actually, I remember it fondly.
A boy brings home a prostitute to fill the void of a missing mother.
Oh my God, I need to watch Milk
that at
Money
9
again.
years old.
Oh, me too.
That was a family movie.
And I was like, one day I'll get a hooker.
Yeah, it's not even crazy. It's just the fact.
I feel like in the 90s when we were like really started watching movies in the 90s, and then all the way up into when I was a video store clerk in the 2000s, I think that we made it very clear that like little kids could get prostitutes and stuff. That's what little boys were thinking of. I don't think it comes up in movies as often that like little boys are fucking gross little monsters that want to fuck everything. But even before they want to fuck everything, they don't know what their feeling is. So they're like, we're going to,
Well, that film in particular, it's not a hardcore movie.
No,
it's a family movie. It's just the fact
they want to see a naked lady. They don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that movie kind of fell to the wayside. Yeah. I mean, Blank Check, man. That kid gets a straight up kiss from a full grown woman. It's fucked up.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, at the end of Blank Check, like this adult woman has been the love interest the entire movie.
Yes, that's
right.
And
then she
I do remember that.
Gives him a romantic kiss at the end of the movie. And you took it as that surface level. Shit does not mean the same things to children. Rewatching stuff like this, I'll be like, oh, fuck me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't catch any of that. I'm sure that you will think that my daughter is going to be scared of this. And she isn't. When I look back at the things we watched when we were kids, I was like, well, why would somebody let me watch fucking Congo? Like, this is gruesome.
Oh, yeah. I was already off the leash way before Congo.
Kids don't take shit that way. It's an adventure to them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we keep making so many things nowadays that are just kids in the 80s and 90s doing stuff. Yellow Jackets, to bring it back around again. Stranger Things, all these movies and TV shows, they take place at this time where you didn't have cell phones and you weren't constantly monitoring your children. That's such a fascinating phenomenon to me. That
all around.
That like your kids are fully exposed to way more things now. Like access to pornography is
man.
Easy.
You got 7-8-year-olds with cell phones.
Yeah, I had to dig that shit up in the woods. And how to get out there? A lot of hunters masturbating. That's what.
When you had to keep track of
if somebody I grew up with in West Virginia is listening to this, tell me why there was so much porn buried in the woods.
No, man. I remember kids would pass around porn on discs. You know what I mean? You'd throw that shit on a disc and it was images. It wasn't videos. It was images. It was pictures.
Yeah, I think we talked about that during the special that you had to download a piece of porn. You had to print that shit out. And then your mom would come home halfway through it and you'd like turn the printer off. But like she'd turn the printer back on. And so she'd get the lower half.
Oh, man. Yeah. No, if it wasn't that, it was, I'm the one who had a scanner. So we were trying to make fake money to get pizza from at lunchtime.
Holy shit, you did that?
We did that.
That's awesome.
It worked. You just had to get the green as best you could and then crumple up the paper because it felt nothing like money paper.
Those lunch ladies didn't see it coming.
3 of us took part in doing it once, and we just were so sketched out we never did it again.
Oh, right. I'm distracted today. We're talking about a movie.
Oh, squirrel!
I see something shiny.
Okay, so he's taking care of this monkey and, gorilla.
It's a gorilla, not a monkey,
It's
Scott.
not a monkey.
It's a gorilla, not a monkey.
Pepsi. There was a lot of Pepsi in this movie, too.
Product placement?
Yeah.
I made notes on, there was Taco Bell.
5 Pepsi cans.
The Hershey's, OG Hershey's in the brown wrapper. That's what Bruce Campbell's eating on the steps. When they first do the pan of Amy's trailer at the university, Taco Bell is perfectly organized.
Yeah, they had to pay for this movie. I also had read that, like, they dumped an insane amount of money into Stan Winston making the mutant gorillas at the end of this movie. He was mad. The way they shot it looked like a bunch of dudes running around in bear suits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you managed to piss off Stan Winston.
Well, because they ended up making 12 suits or something like that. They were limited to 12 suits,
like different faces, and he said it was the lighting, and this movie fucked the lighting up so bad that I was like, the whole movie, I was like, you're on a soundstage. It's so weird. Look how glossy those leaves are. And it's a movie that's lit well is something else. That was something with the Batman. That movie was lit just so Batman.
So Batman.
The amount of care that was taken to make everything look real compared to fucking Congo, which, man, it was some blue screen skies here and there, and
then the lava at the end.
Yeah, okay. So let's get into the story of like the weird plot leaps that they make in this movie.
Yeah, so I mean, it starts at the airport. There's a lot going down at the airport when they first get there.
Well, before the airport, even the whole Amy the gorilla who can do sign language plot thread starts with him being like, her mental faculties were starting to break down until she started painting. And then he looks around her room and it looks like a jungle because of all these paintings this gorilla has done. Oh, and not to mention one of the paintings is of a weird cat eye, and Tim Curry latches onto that and is like, this fucking gorilla knows where a lost city is.
She's seen something. She knows where
Which
it's
is
at.
Ultimately the most interesting part of the movie. The telecommunications thing, the ape thing. I would rather see bad accent Romanian Tim Curry hunting for treasure than us to have all these plot lines, or this weird, who is Laura Linney in this movie supposed to be flirting with?
Yeah, because she's
she
concerned about losing her
She
ex.
was very charmed by Ernie Hudson, though.
Yeah, she's
Like,
charmed
she was
by
like,
her. Like, he's adventurous.
He's a Ghostbuster.
He's hardcore like me. But at the same time, she flirts with the goofy professor.
They set up them being opposites, but then for the next half hour of the movie, she doesn't pay attention to him. He babies his monkey, who apparently thinks it's his mother. We'll get to that.
Yeah, and by the way, the primatologist is played by Dylan Walsh. Now my mind automatically goes to Nip Tuck.
But Dylan Walsh in the 90s was one of those mophead actors that they put in everything. In the late 90s,
Like
they
how
really
Paul Rudd
wanted
started?
bouncy hair boys.
Paul
you
Rudd
know?
had that when he was first doing the
that
thing.
wavy hair bouncy hair boy.
Yeah. Dylan Walsh was definitely one of those guys. That's I have trouble remembering him in anything else. He's one of those that I couldn't tell you other movies offhand.
Oh, no, not at all. TV shows, for sure.
TV shows.
He was one of those people that resigned to the series.
I feel like in the late 2008, 2010, he did like a horror thriller type thing where he's like a crazy dad or stepdad.
Nip Tuck is one of those things that's like The Wire with me.
Uh-huh.
People kept telling me to watch The Wire, and I kept starting it and being like, I don't fucking like this. Yeah,
I never started
like,
it.
People feel like they'd make me feel bad about it. You didn't like The Wire? Yeah, I was fucking bored, man. Then don't change characters on me every season. I feel like more than one person has cornered me and bitched me out about the amount of stuff I consume, but I won't watch The Wire. And it didn't even become like a spiteful thing. I kept trying and kept being like, I don't fucking like this show.
You're gonna get the Oz effect. Recently, when I tried to start Oz again, it's not
Oz,
the same.
Well, that was probably
it's
part
not
of
the
it.
same as how I remember it when it came out.
Really dated. And like the editing of the TV shows at that time.
It was edgy then. It was edgy and dark, but now, no, it just looks bad.
Mr. Echo's in that too. I can't pronounce his name. I'm just gonna keep calling him Mr.
Mr. Echo.
Mr. Echo. I love Mr. Echo.
Man. Yeah, but so
me. Sorry.
No, Dylan Walsh, he plays that role well.
Yeah, he gets martinis for his monkey. He's a gorilla, and raindrop drink.
Raindrop drink.
Amy want raindrop drink, and her sign language interpreter is a glove that somehow knows she knows one-handed sign language. Is there one-handed sign language? There's got to be a one-armed deaf guy around,
hey,
right?
Is it shorthand?
If you're a one-eyed deaf guy, could you please reach out to us on social media? Twitter at Last Clerks.
Is that glove?
Is there one-handed sign language? I really want to know.
Would that glove be functional?
Yeah,
with just one hand.
Her Nintendo Power Glove. Could it?
Nailed it, dude. It was in the back of my head. I was good one. Oh man, Power Glove.
Yeah, I thought about it like 30 times. I was like, they just really. That's what they ended up
they
being.
Slapped
was
a
weird
generic Power Glove on Amy. They were good to go.
She had all these fucking paintings all around her room, and so the leap that he makes is, it looks like the jungle in here.
Amy wants to go home.
I'll take her to the fucking Congo. And so he just buffoons with this gorilla into a war zone and this telecommunications diamond grab and Tim Curry's Nathan Drake fucking Tomb Raider expedition where everyone in Africa, all these warlords in Africa, think he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But
everybody knows Herkimer.
This man owes everyone money. Get him out of here. And we're like, does he owe you money? Maybe you want to hold him down and poke him with something or something like that.
They're held up by the local government trying to cross the border, and the general is played by Delroy Lindo.
Oh, and the guy who pulls them over I see him in stuff a lot. He's the tallest guy ever. He played a werewolf in
Underworld.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
That's how I picture him, as like his face is forever underworlded.
That's what I knew him from, and it wasn't until this viewing of the Congo that I realized, oh, that's the guy from Underworld.
But he's in lots of stuff. He's one of those guys that'll wear makeup. He's like Ron Perlman in the 90s. You know, Ron Perlman in the fucking 80s Beauty and the Beast TV show. Ron Perlman's always been that guy that they were like, he'll wear all that shit and not complain about it. Let's hire him to play Hellboy.
Did 80s Beauty and the Beast have that, what's her name? Daphne Zuniga? Was that her? The one from Spaceballs?
Oh, I don't know.
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Oh, Congo also had Joe, I don't know. A Cypher from the Matrix, Joe Pantoliano.
Joe Pants, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Pants.
Pants.
Let's call him Joe Pants.
Joe Pants was the finest fucking acting performance in this entire movie, though. Because he's just Joe.
He's the hustler. He's the hustler equipment guy who gets all the supplies for the expedition.
He's like, whoa, a talking gorilla.
Yeah.
That's worth a lot of money.
You nailed it. There's a scene where he backs up a golf cart, and if you look closely, he almost gets clipped by that huge military supply truck that they take.
Oh, like it's an accident?
It's an accident. You can tell he kind of fidgets with it and ends up going reverse. He looks back, but by the time he looks back, that big truck's already cutting behind him. Not planned.
Joe Pants, fantastic actor, man. He kept rolling with it.
He just kept going, man. And he's looking back, so he sees it, and there's not a cut in the scene, so it's not a stunt driver on the golf cart.
One of these episodes, I'm going to make you watch Bound.
Bound? Oh, God.
Have you seen Bound?
I don't think so.
Oh, I'm going to make you watch it.
Okay, Bound. He of all things, I picture him as he's in those Bad Boys movies as the captain or lieutenant or whatever.
It's erotic thriller by the Wachowskis pre-Matrix.
So they liked him that much to throw him in the Matrix.
Yeah. Jennifer Tilly and Gina Gershon and Joe Pants.
So it's like that.
Yeah.
God, Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah. Put that on the list. We're fucking for sure. We're going to do Bound at some point.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so he thinks the gorilla's mental health is going to improve, and Tim Curry wants the gorilla to show him where this lost city is. And then on the plane, he has this whole conversation about the myth of the killer ape.
The killer ape.
There's no myth of the killer ape.
Yeah.
But I've never been like, a lot of people think gorillas they're killers. That's never come up before. The hippopotamuses in this movie. There's a scene where they're crossing
They're on the journey at a point.
and two
at night.
hippopotami,
Two hippopotamus?
two hippopotamus,
Two hippos?
They look even better than the rhinoceros from Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. This is my favorite movie, Rhinoceros. But yeah, these were like Jurassic Park level hippopotamus.
They were good.
Hippopotami.
I like that scene because it's one of those things, you know, you think you're on safari in the Congo. Most of the time it's that cliche snake from the branch, which does happen in this movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It does
happens
have the
to Mr.
cliche
Echo.
scene with, yes,
Yeah.
it does have, that's Kahega.
Featured actor Kahega.
Kahega. Yeah, so it does have the cliche snake from the branch scene in the jungle.
Yeah, but he's just kind of like,
But so outside of them actually having the cliche scene that I thought they avoided, it was cool that they were attacked by hippos while crossing the water.
wasn't that guy trying to set his tent up in a flood?
Olympia said that. She
And
was
I
like,
was
well,
like-
it's probably not a good idea to set a tent up
I was
in a
like,
river.
it seems like you should have already given up on that, dude.
Yeah.
I'm glad she pointed that out. Too.
She did, not even me. She's like, why would she do that? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I was really upset by that. Leave it.
Because it's not like it shows a water, like a
No,
break
there's
in the land or
already
anything.
water going
There's
around the tent.
already there where they're setting it up.
Super concerned. I couldn't tell if that was Laura Linney or it was the skinny little other gorilla trainer.
The guy who's in True Lies.
Yes. Fucking love True
I didn't
Lies.
even look up his name. The guy who is
He
the
was
primatologist-
around a lot.
He was in a lot of things.
Yeah.
As the side guy, the assistant, the helper, the one in training, the one
Yeah,
lower level
playing
guy.
an array of races. Like he'd be like an
Yes.
Egyptian in a movie, and then there was that time. You know,
Mhm.
we were post crying Indian who was an Italian man, but we were still casting.
Or
we're
Gandhi,
still
man.
kind of doing
Sir Ben
that.
Kingsley.
Yeah.
Gandhi, come.
Yeah.
And now I know so much more about Gandhi.
Oh, nothing is as bad as Short Circuit. Where this fucking white guy is brown facing for 2 movies. Okay, to get back to the movie, the Congo was like a 90s cartoon. Like movies kind of had that 90s cartoony quality to it.
It
Like-
really was.
like
They
the
weren't as
Phantom with
serious.
Billy Zane. It was
There was a little more fantasy adventure involved in these
Yeah,
action movies.
because I feel like in the 70s things looked really real. Felt really real in movies in the 70s.
90s
and early
people
80s.
weren't as critical in this genre.
Yeah, they were making movies in a fun, over the top way.
Even
again.
Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones made it in the
Oh my
90s.
God, yeah.
I mean, that wasn't a flop.
Didn't Dante's Peak come out like the
Dante's
same
Peak?
couple months as?
It was mid 90s as
Yeah, that
well.
was one of those
Linda
things.
Hamilton and James Bond.
Yeah, that was the
Pierce
time
Brosnan.
for these big, overblown action movies. Let's go to the jungle and stomp around.
And something that I did want to mention was the lava doesn't look horrible in the movie, nor does the volcanic eruption.
It didn't then. Oh, I looked it up. A lot of the shots of the erupting volcano are a volcano actually erupting. One happened to erupt while they were filming.
We'll see. Yeah, because they filmed at an active volcano.
Yeah, so they went to it and did it. So that's why. But there were a lot of like CGI.
But
You
at
know.
the time, that CGI was really good.
Yeah, okay, so now that we're talking about the volcano, the actors inside the mutant gorilla suits. Okay, so as far as plot goes, they make it to the Congo where Amy is rejected by the silverback gorilla that looks like an angry grandpa.
He's definitely the alpha.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't remember this hand-tucky gorilla. And he looks very disapproving.
They're just grumpy.
Yeah, disapproving silverback gorilla. Regardless of their strifes and hippopotamus attacks and what have you, they got their hippopotamus.
They're
for
going
Christmas.
on the adventure through the jungle.
Yeah, but like they get to the city, and Tim Curry's right. The gorilla did see the temple and the lost city he'd been looking for his whole life. I thought Tim Curry was gonna be the bad guy at the beginning of this. I remembered so little about this movie.
In a way, he is a bad guy. He just has no power.
Yeah,
He's not holding anything
sort of
over anyone.
Impotent straw man, like the EPA guy in Ghostbusters. He's just there to like. We're skipping over a lot of things I would like to point out. Ernie Hudson parachutes out of the plane with a drug gorilla, and it's just a big stuffed gorilla.
And I just wanted to
see it.
I wanted to ask the question: did you know that flares can stop heat-seeking rockets?
Oh my God, I knew it, but I wasn't sure until I saw it
if you
happen.
have a standard flare gun, you can definitely take out a heat-seeking rocket when you're on a plane.
Yeah,
by the way,
yeah, that for sure could work. I could see Michael Crichton. Michael Crichton wrote a lot of books. There's a varying level of like Jurassic Park, highly researched Michael Crichton, and Dan Brown, Da Vinci Code Michael Crichton. Because Da Vinci Code is my high watermark of hack bullshit. In the beginning of the Da Vinci Code book, the guy walks up to, it's a first person narrative, the guy walks up to a mirror and fucking describes himself to himself. Basically, like to you, but to like, and so you were like, couldn't think of a way to tell us how this guy looked. Even though I still watched the movie, I threw that book away in an airport bathroom. Halfway through it, like I was like, I fucking don't want it.
I'm done with the Da Vinci Code.
The flight is over. There was a lot of stuff where I was like, this is one of the hackier Michael Crichton books, like the Deadline Michael Crichton book. And it might have been a fun read, like a fun beach read.
Well, and you probably also had the Hollywood push. Jurassic Park was such a success. Hey, let's find another Crichton piece.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah. And yeah, that was the time after like Stephen King had just been this phenomenal well of like fantastic one after another good stories. Even if they weren't perfect stories, they're pretty good. You know, they had you interested. Tommyknockers. Not the best Stephen King property.
Tommyknockers.
Yeah, but it's stuck in my head.
Yeah.
You know, because Stephen King had those wins back then, while at the same time like writing serious shit like Dolores Claiborne. So Michael Crichton was being run down in the same fashion. But they should have known, because this man wrote the screenplay for Westworld, which made a great HBO series. But if you go back, that movie does not hold up.
We recently watched the original Westworld.
You know that was Arnold Schwarzenegger's entire Terminator thing, was he was like, I'm just going to do Yul Brynner from Westworld. This Terminator walk was the Yul Brynner walk. And then I just think of fucking The King and I. That's straight where my fucking brain goes. Is Yul Brynner just like dancing around like this bald, beautiful gazelle.
But without the shine in the eye?
With kind of a dead eye.
One of the other things, just to mention, when they're at some point in the expedition, Laura Linney reaches out to the headquarters to talk to the CEO of the telecommunications company. Peter's playing with Amy in the background. The satellite crashes. They lose feed. He sends in a second team.
Yeah, they seem very dismissive of the gorilla and the trainers for like, you tricked them into taking you with them.
And you know, now that you mention it, do you think he was even aware in the storyline that she had picked them up? Did he know that she had picked up the gorilla and the primatologist with the Romanian philanthropist because they needed gas money?
They needed the cover of taking the
because Herkimer couldn't pull off
gorilla.
Herkimer couldn't pull off the money for gas. That's how Laura Linney got in.
Yeah, it's a lot of plot threads, man.
Yeah,
they should have pulled the good parts out. And I like adaptations of things, but I'm fully aware that you can't turn. This was probably an 800-page book, because this was the time Michael Crichton, Stephen King, Dean Koontz, they were pumping out 800-page books every couple fucking months.
Yeah, maybe you give this movie the extra half hour, 45 minutes,
maybe,
and a little more personal touch.
Like, I'm okay if you take a good book and then take the really juicy parts out of it and make a really good movie out of it. I'm not upset about The Shining, Stephen King. It's good. I don't want to see hedge animals. I did. We did in the 90s with Steven Weber and the fucking terrible Shining miniseries.
You know, when that came out, it was such a big deal. I did not watch it. As a kid, I was like, eh.
Yeah, because that was like his redemption. Like, I'm gonna make it the way it was supposed to be. Like, yeah, but that was the time of the bad CBS miniseries.
Yeah, man, you should have stuck with Wings.
And they were trying to make Dean Koontz ones. There were probably some Michael Crichton miniseries. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there had to be one.
I'm sure something came up in there.
So they were buying, but this was not the juiciest thing. It was just...
No, it was the adventure fantasy part of it. Like I said, played a little heavier, I think, because that action genre at the time in the 90s, you could do that. It didn't have to be so serious.
Yeah, we wanted adventure movies around that time.
Just adventure.
Tim Curry's best line in this movie, I wrote it down. Have your laughing and I will have mine. What the fuck does that mean?
Okay, so I just, while we're on that real quick. Rudy.
Oh,
They have to change the password at the telecommunications headquarters because everything's on lockdown.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the Rudy. Something about that sticks in my head.
You know, I watched The Batman right after this.
Mm-hmm.
And when we sat down to do this today, I was like, fuck, I don't even remember some of the things that I was thinking about last night. Because it wasn't that like Batman was so good that it wiped my memory of this movie. It was just that this movie didn't stick with me in the 90s because it's just kind of what it is, that kind of 90s movie. It's a pretty good example of like the shit we were being fed back then.
But that's what the 90s was. A lot of those action movies that people love, swear by, of some of the best action movies ever. I watch them now with the CGI that I've been subjected to and then the slightly deeper storylines at times.
Yeah, man, I'd rather go back and watch fucking Medicine Man or something.
They fall. Medicine Man had that different vibe, but you know, Commando, Arnold Schwarzenegger, that Commando was just like,
oh yeah.
To me, I go back
Well,
and
that
watch
was when
Commando, and I'm
Steven
like, what's
Seagal
the body
was
count?
starting to get like real fucking popular. Chuck Norris was like something people were taking seriously.
Hard to Kill, Under Siege. Navy SEAL.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme. What a weird time of action stars. And I guess we still are kind of having that.
Yeah. Street Fighter was a movie that happened in the 90s.
Well, that was when they were just trying to make video game movies. But video games didn't even have stories then.
Yeah. So you figure it out, people.
Yeah. We're going to make ghosts and goblins.
But no, I mean, you get a movie like this where, you know, one of my favorite lines, Delroy Lindo, stop eating my sesame cake.
Oh, that was the best part of the whole movie. I'm glad you remembered that.
Stop eating my sesame cake.
That was one of the things I remembered.
And he treats him like shit the whole time in the conversation. He's getting paid off by the expedition so they can move forward.
Yeah.
And throughout the whole movie, Tim Curry just gets shit on.
I feel like the movie was really dependent on, like, I don't know anything about African politics or changing of governments in the 90s or anything like that. I'm no expert on that, but I feel like
there was a lot of unrest.
I feel like they were also counting on you didn't know anyway. All movies portrayed Africa.
And there was just a generalization.
Yeah.
You didn't need to know facts. You just assumed that, okay, here in this province, there's going to be a warlord who's trying to claim something, and he's probably a really bad guy.
Yeah, I guess we still do that. And maybe Africa is like that, but I don't really know.
No, it's the thing. There was the thing. There were kidnappings in the last few years.
Yeah, I guess
things like that.
96, I was just a kid and I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
but,
you were.
The fucking Rwanda and all that stuff was back then.
Black Hawk Down, Somalia.
But I mean, in the end, they find the diamond mine.
The lost city of
and
Zinj.
It's being guarded by mass. I feel like the main thing of this movie was a monster movie.
About the killer gorilla.
But there's a reason we haven't talked about it this entire conversation. Is we kept saying like there were big mutant gorillas, but that's not what this movie is. Like this movie is people trying to get to the diamond mine. They get there, sort of tease you with Bruce Campbell in the beginning of it. It was just me. They're just teasing me. I was like, this is a Bruce Campbell movie.
Nope.
No.
5 minutes.
No.
You get your 5 minutes of fame with Bruce Campbell.
Poor Bruce Campbell.
Yep.
Couldn't get just Darkman's last face.
Was that the original, or was it Die Darkman Die?
Die Darkman Die is underrated. It's interesting watching these movies that are out of their time now.
No, there's so much, because Congo, I was excited when it was on HBO as a kid. Congo's on.
See, I think I only watched it like once around the time it came out on, like it was available for rent, and my mom was like, yeah, sure. But the point that I had originally made was this movie is a monster movie about mutant gorillas that are only in the movie for a little while. And when they're off in the distance, they're spooky. Like they did that right, the night thing. What was with the black lights and the laser beams?
So the camp at night, this is right before they actually enter it. They've entered it once. They've seen that there's definitely the city.
But Laura Linney seems to be the authority on this, and it's either because she's used to be a CIA
She's
agent.
an ex-CIA agent who was hired by the telecommunication company for some security purpose.
These are things that I should understand because all of the dialogue is them explaining the movie to me.
But yeah, they've got a perimeter defense set up. So you've got these auto turrets, I guess you could call them.
It was way overboard for, well, like, why did you bring that stuff? You were expecting these mutant gorillas? Because I don't think anyone was expecting mutant gorillas.
Well, and one thing in their defense, they actually acknowledged that at the airport. Joe Pants is like, do you really need a hot air balloon? And she's like, let me see that list. They've got portable AC units for the tents. They've got an air balloon. They've got auto turrets, similar to a scene in Aliens that got cut out.
Portable air conditioners for the tents was just to explain why no one was fucking sweating in this movie.
In
they
the
were in the
forest?
fucking Congo.
Yeah.
Marching up mountains. There was like 2 scenes where anyone has sweat on their shirt. It's so weird.
Yeah, what the dirtiest anybody got was when they set up a tent
Yeah.
in the river.
But that is something that I've noticed is like around that time in movies, we were like, fuck it, we want our actors clean. We want our beautiful people clean through this fucking dirty adventure. And I'm glad that's fucking over. You know,
Yeah.
I want dirty people. I want Alien. In the 70s, they made fucking Alien and everyone was dirty. It really sold this sci-fi shit to me. When you make a sci-fi movie with a bunch of clean people, I'm not going to fucking buy it. You can't go on an adventure and stay clean. Even Indiana Jones was fucking dirty. It's because that hat it always rolled away, but it always came back.
Came right back.
Oh my God. The volcano scene was terrible though, because these mutant gorillas are just throwing themselves into the volcano. Like they were like, "Go, you fall in, fall into the
I'm glad you
volcano."
brought that up because
These
there's a
extras
point
were
where you're like,
hucking themselves into the lava.
are you throwing them in? And then there's a point where they do throw them in, but then they run past like they're trying to escape. So it's like, oh, they were in the way.
Well, I feel like there should have been like some more Star Trek shots, you know, where like the bridge shakes and the camera, they just shook the camera to convey that the Earth was throwing these things into the thing. It was just these level, still shots of guys in fucking monkey suits throwing themselves in the fucking.
At the end, we lose a lot of our people who made it to the end of the journey. They didn't make it all the way. They got close.
It's a weird jungle Yeti movie.
You know, not to say everybody who dies, but you get another Bruce Campbell shot of dead Bruce Campbell holding the diamond.
Probably they had an old Bruce Campbell dummy laying around at Stan Winston's studio.
Yeah, all of the other bodies had decomposed, but somehow Bruce Campbell's body was still there.
Easily identified.
Yeah, you know.
Could I get one more paycheck, please?
Just a little bit more time. A little bit, even if it's just some weird dummy that looks like me.
A little more. And honestly, though, you could have given Bruce Campbell this part. It would have been fine. No matter what level of actor Bruce Campbell was at this time, you could have given Bruce Campbell this part. I don't think that it would have been a different movie. You wouldn't have got that nice Bruce Campbell scream in the beginning.
No, if Bruce Campbell got the role of the primatologist, it would have been a completely different movie with a totally different feel. Laura Linney being a
maybe
love
he was
interest,
just a little too sexy. You know, they were like, "This guy's too sexy."
So Dylan Walsh to Laura Linney, it's doable.
Yeah,
Bruce
but like
Campbell
I said,
and Laura
they
Linney?
dropped that plot, and I don't know if it was bad editing or what, but the love tension aspect of the story was completely overshadowed. They don't interact with each other for a half an hour, and then she's like flirting with Ernie Hudson the whole time because goddamn, Ernie Hudson is charming as shit in this.
The killer gorillas start killing people in the diamond mine at the end, Amy comes to the rescue. I wanted to talk about this because you had mentioned the silverback outside didn't even trust her at first.
Yeah.
They ended up bonding later, which is like, okay, he was cool. He's like, oh, you know, another chick in the squad.
This movie was about getting a gorilla laid.
Yeah,
like
she
let's
wanted
just
to
be
go
clear.
home.
She had a teddy bear and she kept being like, Amy, mother. And then I think she was saying, I'm your mother to like the scientist or something. I kind of got that vibe.
So, and one of the things that confused me is when they're surrounded by the apes, the gorillas, you think they're going to die. Amy jumps into the cave out of nowhere and she stops the killer gorillas. Why? Did they listen to her?
I don't know, because they had a cave full of fucking gorilla bones.
Gorilla bones.
Clearly, these were fucking like
made the point that these killer gorillas killed other gorillas for sport
or food.
Or food, but yet here's Amy, an outsider from civilization brought here by the hairless ones. All of a sudden, she's yelling at them with the Nintendo Power Glove.
Oh yeah,
Amy,
and they don't know what to
leave,
make of it.
Amy. Yeah, and they're just like, that stops the killer gorillas that have been trained for centuries. That it's been instilled in them to kill anything and everything. But they listen to the outsider gorilla with the Nintendo Power Glove.
I appreciated after that when they escape and the volcano erupts and they're not all that far away.
Because it's only as far as they could run.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, they were on foot.
Oh, because Ernie Hudson's like, they know what to do. We need to get out of here. You know, and takes them out. But so the silverback accepts her as part of his harem. And
yeah, Peter has to say his goodbye. Meanwhile, Laura Linney,
the goodbye scene was pretty good. This gorilla suit is not very good. It's very moon-faced and round.
Yeah, it wasn't as squared up as I think a gorilla's head should have been.
Yeah, the animatronic was weird. We bought that pretty hard, I feel like, in 1995.
It was fine then. And, you know, side note, they wanted to use the technology that they used for Jurassic Park, but at that time, they couldn't generate fur good enough. So that's why they
Oh.
chose not to do it. That's where Stan Winston came in. They wanted to use CGI, but CGI was only so developed at that point.
I don't care. I'm always in favor of using practical effects. If you want to use practical effects and clean them up with CGI,
Mhm.
that's fine. But like, you know, Star Wars really proved that to me, because these
Oh.
last 3 Star Wars were so much more practical effects that were
And there was
touched up
something
with
else
CGI.
more recently where they chose not to do CGI on a project, and I was like, oh, I can respect that.
I think that's coming back around again in a good way.
It's nice because now, I mean, just the tools to do that are so much better.
I really appreciate that they're doing it when they don't need to now. Like the technology's good enough to
Everybody's all
where
about,
you can,
let's generate that.
yeah, you can blend it pretty well into the movie. But
Oh yeah.
I like seeing the practical effects. You know, even if they don't look real, I like it. It appeals to that Jim Henson kid in me. You know? I accepted Big Bird as my Lord and Savior. Now, I accepted Big Bird as like a real entity when I was a small child.
Hey man,
so-
I went to Muppets on Ice in the late 80s.
How tall were they?
That's the thing, is like they were people, man. They were pretty big.
That would freak me the fuck out.
They were
when I was a
big.
kid. I was that kid that was like, ugh, you know, like
Oh.
freaked out by like it wasn't clowns necessarily, but it was like anything that looked like an animal and a human mixed together fucking messed
Well,
me
this
up.
was still back in the day, though, when if it wasn't an event that was like on ice, but you went to Frank Irwin Center or the Travis County Expo Center,
Yeah.
there were elephant rides for kids. We were still riding elephants at the fairs at that point in life. So that's how far back that
I
was.
rode an elephant when I was a kid.
Yeah.
For sure.
But you don't see that's not so much a thing anymore.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It was
Well,
also
now-
a really good memory. You know,
Yeah,
like I had a
well,
really good
now we
memory.
know
of it
more
now.
about
I
the
get it.
handling and
Yeah.
that. But when you're a kid, yeah, it was like, no, I got to ride the elephant. Yeah. Not to sound paranoid about it. I had fun.
Well, not even that it's a disaster. That elephant does not want to be there.
No, the elephant, but I mean, just because of the power of that beast, you know, like, hey, let's strap 12 kids on this metal harness on their back. Hey,
In this
back then
fucking
I wasn't
abused
worried about it
elephant.
going on a rampage.
Yeah, yeah. They still had elephants in the circus the last time I went to the circus, because why the fuck does an adult go to the circus? But
Yeah. No, don't even get me started on the animal stuff right now. I've been to places lately where I've seen things.
the way I feel about this movie, pretty mediocre, but I didn't hate watching it.
I will always watch this movie. I will remember this movie for what it was to me back in the day.
There's a nostalgia aspect to it. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
telling
I
anyone
would
that it
like-
holds up.
I would like to find that person that's like 22 right now and thinks Congo is a good movie.
I think it would be a hard find, right?
I feel like it is so big budget, yet still feels like a B movie from that
Mhm.
time. I don't know. You could go either way, whether it'd be enjoyable to watch.
Yeah,
I'm
not
really
even
sure.
saying it holds up. That's not
Oh, it
what
definitely
I'm saying
doesn't
whatsoever.
hold up.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Not with me.
I think I will always love that movie, and I will watch it from time to time for the rest of my life.
Some of those movies are the best ones,
Congo, man.
for sure.
I'd say they're too damn smart.
See, none of those things stuck with me as much. I wish I was writing more stuff down. I still, from last week, fucking lines from Killing of a Sacred Deer keep popping into my fucking head but it's hard to find a movie that sticks in your head like that, where lines keep coming to you and making you laugh.
See the
or
Sesame
like
Cake
when
line?
you start laughing
Yeah.
alone by yourself and can't stop because you thought of some stupid fucking line from Congo. Those are the things you need to look for.
The
in stuff.
Sesame Cake line is one of my testers. When I'm talking to somebody about movies and we get to a certain point, I'll throw that out as a tester to see if they catch it, to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and we'll get kind of a schedule going, and I'll post on social media about the movies we have upcoming, because we've been talking about the movies that we wanted to do in the future as we go forward. I think that, first of all, the next movie we're going to do, we're going in cold. Neither of us have heard anything about this movie. We're just going to video store clerk it. We're going to look at the cover. We watched a trailer for like a few seconds of it before we watched this, or did this when I was telling Frank about it.
Hey, man, we didn't even watch a trailer about this one.
Oh, no, we didn't. Okay.
We didn't.
So my criteria for picking next week, we're going to be doing Witches in the Woods, which is on Showtime right now. Who knows? These things keep moving around.
They just had a big shuffle, so a lot of things changed services recently.
Somebody needs to make an app that is just IMDb, but it's not just going to tell you whether or not it's on fucking Amazon Prime or not. Like, tell me where
Be
it
more
is.
specific. You know where it's at right now.
I don't know if there's a way to find out if these things are going to be scheduled when they move or something like that, but the just scrolling through menus looking for stuff, sometimes it's not working for me. I want to be able to I want to watch that and then go find it. And it's nice rewatching movies. This is starting to get me to do it again because there's so much stuff pouring over. So many movies came out during the pandemic and we were just taking them down every fucking day. Several movies, whole TV shows. And things got swept under the rug. So I want to go back and hit some of those movies that got lost in the wave, the flood of content that you got while you were sitting there just putting it in your face.
You just presented this one to me right before we started this.
Yeah, and this was me. The thing I do now is my version of going through the video store and trying to find that movie that was just overlooked and might be really, really great is that I'll find something that is not necessarily the best thing, but it has that quality. And then I'll go several recommendations deep, watching trailers. And I'll find something really fucking weird that way.
Well, I'm interested in this one because just looking it up real quick on IMDb, it wasn't a promoted movie that I've never seen a trailer for this. It's definitely not a big budget movie. I don't recognize anyone in the cast. So this should be clean slate.
But the anomaly with this one is that I didn't read any reviews of it or anything. I've strictly gone based on the fact that Amazon, it's over 4 stars, but on IMDb, it's dead center, sitting right in the middle of the stars.
It's a 4.3, which could be sketchy, or it's an undercover good movie that people, I feel, just don't understand in its entirety.
On IMDb, that's out of 10, we should say.
Yeah,
it's not
4.3 out of 10.
5 stars, because I just said 4 stars for Amazon, which is only a 5-star service.
And IMDb, it's a 4.3 out of 10.
Which I appreciate. That's a big spectrum. Unfortunately, Amazon Prime and IMDb, same company. I want a bigger spectrum of rating system. I like that. I like that a lot. I like the Rotten Tomatoes Metascore.
Maybe when we start next time, we'll have some the tomato count ready.
What I wanted to do for this next one was pick one cold. Find a movie based solely on the cover. And some people must have really liked it if this is what the rating is. Yeah. And then some people didn't like it enough to go tell people that they didn't like it.
Yeah, because on IMDb, what I've noticed for my preferences, if it's close to a 5 out of 10, it's normally a decent movie.
Yeah, there's some algorithms I trust though. Like I trust the Netflix algorithm pretty good. Not anymore. It's thumbs up, thumbs down. But I did when it was stars.
And if you look at the percentage, it still has that weird percentage thing on there.
You. Yeah.
The percentage for me is all right. It's pretty good.
It's pretty on point. And
especially for the variety of shit that
every
I throw
now and then
at
it'll tell me not for you at all, and I'll be like, I love that.
Oh, and I know we've mentioned it. I finally finished Attack of the Hollywood Cliches.
Oh yeah, it's great.
If you're a movie, TV show lover, watch that and see how much of it you've noticed yourself.
God, fucking Rob Lowe was so funny hosting that.
It was perfect that Rob Lowe hosted it.
When Rob Lowe is sarcastic, it's better than most people being sarcastic.
Ann Perkins.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't cover the most important thing though. The climax of this movie is these fucking gorillas just being blasted with a laser. There's so much shit going on in this fucking movie. I forgot that this laser is for communicating, but it isn't for fucking it's shooting gorillas.
Yeah, I mean, somehow it's supposed to go into satellite technology, but they've converted it into a laser to see how pure it is.
Yeah, and then at the end of this movie, Laura Linney blasts her employer's fucking satellite dish out of the sky.
Yeah, little sprinkle on top. But then they fly off, and what do they say? I hope the wind blows us somewhere good. And it's like, me too. So all I have to say about that is, I hope life blows me somewhere good.
Oh. So what we've determined is Congo is it's a nice product of its time.
Of its time. It has a place in my heart for what it was when it was.
For sure. But
good luck getting your kids to watch it now.
Fuck no, man. It's not gonna happen.
Your kids are gonna be like, putting Kanto back on.
Yeah. But next week we're gonna watch Witches in the Woods, which is a horror movie. We're going in cold. We're not reading anything about it. We're not reading the reviews.
Don't know shit about it. Don't know who's in it.
We know that the reviews are mixed, that the cover of the movie looks professional. Showtime paid money for it.
I can't wait to see what the quality of the film looks like. Hopefully it's good. It's, what is it, 2018, 2019? I think I saw.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey, hopefully they found a camera that's decent.
Yeah, so and it's good that Frank made me accidentally order Showtime because I got a lot out of it. There's a lot to be said for switching services. Netflix is talking about the ad thing, a smaller tier with ads because they've lost all these viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the fuck up, man. Put out more badass shit because you've got a really great app. The HBO app is a piece of fucking garbage.
Netflix has the most functional app, in my opinion.
I don't know why. Hulu also works pretty good most of the time.
Hulu never keeps my place.
Amazon Prime never really fucks up. So, like, if you could order all of HBO Max, but I think you can just order HBO.
There is still a separate HBO app.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, if you want to buy it from Amazon, it's not HBO Max, is it?
It's HBO,
It's just
I think.
HBO.
Mhm.
Yeah, you got to get this piece of shit app. I watched The Batman 3 hours long, record at least 15 times. The movie froze, and I had to back out of the menu and go back into it 15 times. During
No
this
way.
movie. Yeah, I shit you not.
And when that's HBO Max, right?
Yeah, and just because you have great content does not mean we should let you off the hook for this shit. Netflix's app works.
It does it on the bigger new releases more than anything else.
Yeah,
I've
and maybe
noticed
it's
that.
because everybody, but you should be able to figure that out.
They should, because that's a network
You're
issue.
owned
That's
by
like a
fucking
server issue.
AT&T.
No, they've got money to fix the problem.
Fix
They
it.
have to know that it's a thing. Any of those big ones that are the HBO exclusives, especially the ones that are like simultaneously released in theaters.
What Netflix should be doing is capitalizing on whoever their fucking tech guy is who made this fucking app that never breaks. You know, and if you're the internet problems, stuff like that. But that's the thing is if you look up why does HBO fucking dump me every fucking 20 minutes on the way through the Batman,
You just find a lot
they're
of
going
blogs
to tell
about
you it's
people-
your fucking internet.
Yeah.
And it's not my fucking internet.
No.
It's your piece of shit app. It doesn't work on any of my TVs. It doesn't work over cellular service. It doesn't fucking work when I cast to the TV, Chromecast, fucking Apple Play, any of those things. None of that shit works right.
But they get movies while they're coming out in theaters, Scott.
That's great. I love HBO. I love what HBO has. I love who HBO is. But make your fucking app work. There's no reason why HBO should be this dysfunctional. I've gone on a real rant. I'm red-faced and mad.
Yeah, you are. I can tell. That's like
This is something that I'm passionate about.
what
Like,
happened to you is what happened to me when you shared that article with me about Split being petitioned. That's how mad I got at that bullshit.
Yeah, make your fucking app work. You killed the video store.
Mhm.
Fucking make your app work. Until next time.
Thanks everyone for joining us for the Last Video Store Clerks podcast. Be sure to leave a rating and subscribe. You can find us on Twitter at Last Clerks, Instagram at the Last Video Store Clerks, and you can find Scott at dispatchesfromthepit.com.